Out of Myanmar, where police have occupied hospitals and universities in the largest city, Yangon. There are also reports they've arrested hundreds of people involved in protesting last month's military coup. Despite this, protesters continue to defy a violent crackdown. Hundreds marched in the city of Dawei on Monday after a coalition of labor unions called for a large-scale general strike. The UN says more than 50 people have died in the protests so far. Well, for the very latest, let's bring in journalist Armate in Yangon. Tell us, more shooting reported there overnight. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so what we saw overnight was a targeting of National League for Democracy, which is the former ruling party of Myanmar, their members, as well as activists and people who are involved in the civil society or civil disobedience movement. We also have new reporting in very recently that there have been new violent crackdowns on protests that are ongoing today on International Women's Day, as well as just as part of the general strike and the protest movement. And at least one more protester has been shot dead.
Tell us more about that general strike. Unions have called on it to keep up pressure on the military. What effect is it having?
So it's having quite a large effect. We also just got reporting this morning that many gas stations around the country, especially in Yangon, are closed, and that because of the strike, quite a lot of logistic and transportation, as well as of people as well as goods, have been impacted. And Myanmar is set to run out of reserve fuels quite soon because shipping has been disrupted all throughout the country. We are also seeing bank closures, as well as the closure of many government institutions, such as schools and hospitals, with protesters setting up alternative services outside of the military's control.
According to the UN, over 50 people have died so far since February 1st, including a former government official. How does the military justify this level of violence?
So the military has really had a two-pronged approach to how they've been explaining the violence that people are seeing on the street. One is simply denial. They have denied that people who have died in police custody have died from the injuries sustained under police care, as well as exhuming bodies of the dead and saying that the bullets found in their head, for example, are not from a military or police weapon and are in fact gunshots from other perhaps instigators in the crowd. And then they have also essentially said that police have been responding within the law and within sort of reasonable measure to violence from protesters, and have accused protesters of things like having bombs and such to justify the crackdowns.
Journalist Armate there in Yangon, thank you for bringing us up to date.
Thank you for having me.